Manny Khoshbin is a real estate mogul who has been collecting cars nearly his entire life. Today, this collection is worth over $30 million and he has another $17 million worth of cars coming in. At first glance, he seems like a passionate middle-aged rich man who doesn't mind splurging on his hobby. But in reality, his car collection is much more than just this. In fact, he made $11,875 per day in profit from his Koenigsegg supercar, which he owned for 5 months. So how does Manny Khoshbin make money from his cars? Generally, we're told that cars are the worst investment one can make and that they're just an endless money pit. They start depreciating the second you drive them off the lot, but the real killer is the maintenance costs on high-end cars, as they are often plagued with reliability issues. And all of this is true for the average car. So the first step to making money on cars is to buy cars that are not average. In Manny's case, many of his cars are actually the only ones in the world. For example, the Koenigsegg Manny sold is the fastest street-legal car in the world, and only 25 were ever made. On top of this, Manny was able to get the last one made, called the Phoenix, and tacked on several lavish upgrades, including a $300,000 rear wing, plenty of 24-karat gold accents, and a carbon fiber wrap. Evidently, all of these characteristics made the Phoenix the only one of its kind in the entire world. And given this, Manny was able to buy it for $2.2 million and turn around 5 months later selling it for $4.1 million. He actually tried to get $5 million for it, but that was a bit too much. Nonetheless, he was able to profit $1.9 million, which converts to $11,875 per day in appreciation. Similar to the Koenigsegg Phoenix, Manny has several cars that are the only ones in the world. For instance, his $5 million Bugatti Chiron Hermes edition is not only eye-watering, but also one of one, just like his $7 million Pagani Hermes edition. So, though the average car suffers severely from depreciation, Manny's cars don't because they are collectible cars. In Manny's case, his cars are top-of-the-line sports cars, but this is not the only type of collectible cars. Collectible cars can also hold historical significance, like the first Model T car ever produced, or be associated with a certain celebrity like Paul Newman. Moving on, not only does Manny buy collectible cars, but he also takes very good care of them. In the past, he has detailed that he spends $115,000 a year just to get all of his cars serviced along with oil changes. He also spends $36,000 a year to get all of his cars detailed and cleaned on a weekly basis. And of course, insurance is not cheap across all of these cars. He says he got a very good deal on insurance, which he very well may have, but despite that, insurance still costs $100,000 a year. And what about his garage? He says it costs $180,000 a year just to maintain his garage, which is spec'd out with $700,000 of technology, ensuring his cars are kept at top condition. All of these yearly costs add up to $431,000 per year. But all of this maintenance is not the key to keeping his cars appreciating. The key is not driving them and keeping the mileage low, which Manny also does. He only has a few hundred or a few thousand miles on most of his cars, especially the most expensive ones. And the few times he does drive his expensive cars, he's very careful to keep them clean. In fact, he wears shoe covers before driving his Bugatti Chiron Hermes edition. And with all of these sacrifices and investments, Manny is able to keep his $30 million car collection appreciating. But you may be asking, what is the point of having so many cars and not fully enjoying them? Well, to a lot of car collectors, the answer may be to make money off of them or just the fun of collecting them. The thing is, Manny isn't necessarily looking to make money off these cars. When he sold the Koenigsegg, he stated that he had no plans to sell it and that he was simply offered a price that he couldn't refuse. So Manny isn't trying to collect cars to make money off of them. In Manny's case, I believe he maintains his cars as investments to find a nice balance between enjoying them while also not blowing millions on cars he would otherwise not buy. You see, though Manny Khoshbin is quite wealthy, this car collection is still a very significant expense for him. Manny Khoshbin does control over $250 million worth of real estate, but this does not mean his net worth is also this much. His net worth is estimated to be around $80 million. So logically, it doesn't make sense to blow nearly half of your net worth on sports cars that provide just dumb fun. As a result, Manny cleverly only buys unique, one-of-a-kind cars. He didn't go out and buy a Bugatti Chiron right when it came out. He even declined the Chiron Supersport 300 Plus. He only buys the most exclusive cars and maintains them very well. And in the end, he's able to hit two birds with one stone. Manny is able to get the best cars in the world while also getting cars that will at least hold their value. And that is why Manny Khoshbin uses his cars as investments. It brilliantly allows him to indulge in his hobby here and there while also not placing his entire fortune in jeopardy. If you guys thought this video explained Manny's car collection well, then make sure to drop a like and consider subscribing to see more questions logically answered. But until then, I'm Hari and I'll see you guys on the next one.